We live in what's called a capitalist system. That is the name of our economic system. And in a capitalist system, there are two ways that you can make money. You can make money from your labor, or you can make money from your capital. Your labor is your work. I am the CEO of Briefs Media. When I go to work, I get paid a salary. That is my labor. But I'm also the owner of Briefs Media. I get paid the profits because I am the owner. As the owner, I'm entitled to the profits. As the employee, I'm entitled to a salary. And if you want to be able to win in a capitalist system, you cannot just rely on your salary if you want to build wealth. Wealth is built through your equity, through your ownership, through your investments, not just your salary. And I'll give you another example. You might think, well, what if somebody can make a lot of money? If you can make $1 million a year as a doctor, or as a celebrity, as a singer, as an NBA player, if I make a lot of money, well, now I'm going to be rich, right? No, because guess what? Eventually, you're going to want to stop working. If you're making $1 million a year and you're living $1 million a year lifestyle, you can have a nice big home. You can have a few nice cars. You can go on a lot of fancy vacations. You can have some nice watches. You can have a whole bunch of fancy toys. But guess what? If you don't go into work tomorrow, if you stop going on tours, if you stop doing surgeries, the money stops coming in. But the expenses are still there. I mean, you got to pay your housing payment, you got to pay for the cars, you got to pay for the stuff, and you got to pay for food. So now how do you pay for that if you're not working? This is what wealthy people are working towards. What wealthy people want to do is they want to take their money and they want to put it here. You don't have to go out and start a business. There's a lot of very, very, very incredibly wealthy people that have never started a business before. But what they did is they transferred some of their income into these assets, into these investments. What are these investments? The three assets that have built more wealth than anything else over the last century are stocks, real estate, and businesses. So now, as you work to make money, the question is, why are you working to earn this money? Are you working to make this money to drive a faster car and live a bigger home? Because that's what most people are doing. They're working to have nicer things. But what wealthy people want to do, which is a very different way to approach it, is they're working to earn money so they can own more assets. And the reason they want to own more assets is because these investments can then pay them with more money. And this is kind of a difficult process because now imagine this, you work hard to make $10,000 and you put aside this $10,000 that you don't spend. That's a lot of work to do that. $10,000 is a lot of money. But now when you take this $10,000 and put it aside, you can do a couple of things. You can use it as a down payment on a BMW. You can use it to go out and buy a Rolex. You can use it on a vacation to Cancun. Or you can take the $10,000 and invest that money. Now, when you invest that money, you have nothing to show, right? When you go and you buy a Rolex, you can show it off for a long time. When you go on a vacation to Cancun, you can enjoy some time with your family and show it off on Instagram. When you buy that BMW, well, now you can show it off because people will know you're making some nice money. But when you buy those investments, you have nothing to show for it. And you don't even get that much return when you invest at $10,000 during the first year or two. But this is where what wealthy people are doing is they have a longer term horizon where they understand the first few years of you starting this investment process is rough. You're going to go through markets, ups and downs. You're going to see very little returns, and you don't really see any success. But that's where you got to stick with it. And this is what most people are not willing to do. They're not willing to go through the decade of sacrifice. I call it a decade of sacrifice because it's a decade of you spending less and earning more while investing like crazy in order for you to build wealth. See, it's not rocket science. If you want to build wealth, you got to understand the system and you got to put your money to work. And then, of course, you have a lot of people that get into the real nitty gritty. Which index fund should I buy? Which ETF should I buy? What should the expense ratio be? What should the mutual fund be? Which stock should I buy? Should I buy single family homes or multifamily homes? When in reality, it's generally not the investment that breaks people. It's the fact that they never get started or they don't stick with it. Now, of course, sure, you can invest your money into a company that goes bankrupt and lose your investment, but it's a learning process. I mean, you got to be able to get up. I've lost a lot of money in my investments. But this is where, if you want to build wealth, you got to understand this is our economic system. You can hate it or love it. I'm just telling you the way that the system works. This is what's happening right now. This is what wealthy people understand. And wealthy people want their money here instead of all their money just flowing here. Of course, you want to have the nice things. I'm not saying don't have the nice things. I'm not saying don't buy the nice things. I'm saying buy whatever nice and expensive and dumb things you want. I just want you to be able to afford it. I don't want you to have to stress about the payments. I don't want you to have to worry how you're going to be able to afford it. I want you to be able to have all the nice stuff, but just be able to afford it first. But this requires you now to understand the system and to not keep spending your money and making everybody else rich. Because when you take this money, that you're working so hard to earn. And you give it to BMW, you give it to Rolex, you give it to all these other companies. Well, you're making somebody else rich at your expense. That's fine if you can afford it. But the problem is today, the vast majority of people, especially in America, can't. Yet they keep spending. You spend with your credit card. You spend by digging into your savings. You spend by other lines of credit. You spend with buy now, pay later. It's great for the economic system. It's great for my stock portfolio. It's great for your stock portfolio. But it's not good for your financial situation. And what I'm trying to educate is, look, this is how this works. We're not taught this, but if you want to build wealth, you gotta understand this and start using your money the right way. Now, I have a free newsletter called Market Briefs, where my team breaks down what's happening in the financial markets into a fun, witty, and easy-to-read newsletter. We cover things like the economy, housing, stocks, crypto, and the global economy. It's completely free. You can read it in less than 5 minutes every morning, and I'll put the link for you down in the description below. But this is where, if you want to build wealth, understand the way that this works, be willing to stick with it, and understand some people are not going to understand it. But if you're willing to go through a decade of sacrifice, you're going to live a completely different life in 10 years. But along the way, I also want you to invest in your education. Start by reading some books. Read some books on money management. Read some books on mindset. Read some books on people management. Read some books on starting a business. And read some books on how to grow in your career. And if you do that, you are going to be a completely different person. Not necessarily a personality, but a completely different person financially, because you've changed the way that you think and you invested in your financial education, because this is something you got to do on your own. School's not going to do it for you. You're going to have to go out and do this on your own, because if you don't, you're going to be the person that's paying the price and making everybody else rich. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to continue your financial education journey, I have another video that I think you'll love. All you got to do is click that button right over there. And for those of you who want to stay up to date on the top finance and business news, you can join Market Briefs, my free financial newsletter, by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.